The tremor in his hands was a constant companion now, a subtle vibration that ran through him even when he was still. It was a mirror to the instability he felt within, the precarious balance between the man he desperately wanted to be and the monster he feared he still was. Maya, in her sober moments, was a lifeline, her gentle presence a fragile dam against the rising tide of his internal chaos. She'd share about the comfort she found in baking, of a life before the quake that for a fleeting moment made him forget the chasm between their realities. But the dam was only ever temporary. The meth would inevitably resurface, a cruel serpent uncoiling itself in the quiet moments. He'd see the subtle shift in her eyes first, a fleeting dart of suspicion, then the tightening of her jaw. Her kindness would leach away, replaced by a raw, agitated energy that crackled around her like static. The shelter, already a cacophony of human misery, would sharpen into an unbearable assault on his senses when Maya was high. Every creak of the metal cots, every whispered conversation, every distant siren would amplify, feeding the frantic paranoia that now seemed to consume them both. One particularly suffocating evening, the air thick with the smell of unwashed bodies and stale food, Maya's addiction took a particularly vicious turn. She'd been agitated for hours, pacing the narrow space beside their cots, muttering to herself. Charlie had tried to offer a calming word, a glass of water, anything to tether her back to reality, but his efforts were met with a feral glare. Her eyes, usually a warm hazel, were now pinpoint pupils, glinting with a malevolent light that was eerily familiar. "I know what you did!" she hissed, her voice a brittle whisper that cut through the low hum of the shelter. "I know! I've always known!" His blood ran cold. The words, the tone, the accusatory glint in her eyes. It was Sally, distilled and resurrected in a twisted, drug-addled form. Her blonde hair, usually pulled back, had come loose, framing a face contorted by suspicion. He saw Sally's face, Sally's rage, the bitter accusations she'd hurled in those final moments before the earthquake. "Know what, Maya?" he managed, his voice a strangled croak. He felt the familiar tremor start in his hands, then spread through his entire body. His heart was a frantic drum against his ribs. She laughed, a harsh, humorless sound that scraped against his nerves. "Don't play innocent. You think I don't know what you did? I was there." She stepped closer, her breath hot and stale on his face. "You think you're so clever, don't you, Charlie? You and your saintly act." The accusation, so close to the bone, ignited a spark of his own simmering fury. He was no saint. He was a murderer absolved by an act of God, and this woman, this fragile, broken woman, was dredging up the very hell he had tried to outrun. The shelter lights flickered, casting long dancing shadows that made Maya's face shift, morphing, becoming indistinguishable from the ghost that haunted his every waking moment. "You don't know anything about me," he growled, the words tearing from his throat. The carefully constructed wall, so diligently maintained, began to crack and crumble. The resentment, the self-loathing, the raw, unacknowledged rage he felt towards Sally for making him, for pushing him, it all surged to the surface, finding a new terrifying target. He saw the knife again, not in his mind's eye this time, but a phantom weight in his right hand, the slick feel of the hilt, the cold, sharp edge. He saw the pooling blood, the sudden stillness, the intoxicating relief that had followed, the perverse sense of freedom. This time there would be no earthquake, no seismic alibi. This time it would be a conscious, deliberate act. The thought was a chilling, exhilarating rush. He clenched his fists, his knuckles white against the faded fabric of his pants. The urge was potent, almost irresistible. He imagined the silence that would descend upon the shelter, a heavy, oppressive quiet, broken only by the distant wail of a siren that would be coming for him. The thought was both terrifying and alluring. But then a fleeting image superimposed itself over Maya's distorted face. Maya, sober, her smile radiating a gentle warmth, her quiet stories of baking and rebuilding. Sally, too, before the bottle had consumed her, before the arguments had escalated into violence, before his rage had boiled over. The echo of Maya's kindness, the phantom limb of Sally's sober moments flickered within him, like a dying ember. And beneath it, a stark primal fear, the crushing weight of consequence. This time there would be no escape. He looked away, his gaze falling to the cracked concrete floor. The tremor in his hands was violent now, a full-body shudder. He hadn't killed her, not yet, but the ground beneath his fragile recovery had not just felt unstable, it had fractured. The darkness, temporarily contained by the earthquake's brutal grace, had not been extinguished. It had merely been waiting, and it was hungry.